Hello and welcome back to the Digital Magicians channel. This is going to be a quick tutorial on a After Effects effect that we created in our GHood Season 2 episode. If you haven't checked that out, please go check that out. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. What we're going to be creating is this illusion here from the Twilight zone in this opening credits. We just actually used it to kind of parody the Twilight zones with our G-zone effect with our titling. What you want to do is first start in Illustrator. You could actually create the effect in After Effects. I found it a little easier to work in Illustrator. If you actually look, each circle is actually created on its own layer. I just actually kind of numbered them just to keep track of them. And each circle is actually kind of just the opposite. I kind of copied and pasted and used the align effects in Illustrator to make sure that everything was centered. You don't have to be too perfect with this. Just kind of make sure it kind of looks good enough. So when you actually move this into After Effects, you get like the perfect effect. When technically all this is really a bunch of circles sitting on top of each other in different scales. Open up After Effects and create a new comp. The comp size here, I just left the default that I use for GHood. You want to leave the comp size, whatever the default comp size you're using for your project. Import the file that we created in Illustrator, if you actually created in Illustrator. If not, like I said, you could create this directly inside After Effects. So here you want to actually keep these settings exactly the way they are. So you could just pause and copy that. Once you actually have it imported, just drag that into your scene. And here is why you want to keep everything on the separate layers is very important, so that you could actually edit each circle individually. So right here, I'm just actually selecting everything. And we actually just going to edit the anchor point on each file by selecting all and kind of moving either to the left or the right. It doesn't matter. That's just going to be the direction your circles are actually going to transform from. So right here, we're just going to make sure all our anchor points are pretty much set off to the left or right, either way. So it's also kind of important that once you actually set your anchor point, we actually then mess with the transforms a bit. So I'm actually going to select everything again, and I'm just going to set a keyframe in the first frame and move all the way to the end. And we want to set a keyframe at the end just by actually just rotating just a few. You could actually, we'll set the final rotation at the end once I get a nice little form of the actual circle and the actual illusion effect that I'm trying to go for. And here we actually just going to check the anchor point to see what position it's in. It's actually not necessary. I'm just actually moving just to keep track of the anchor point a bit. And the trick to this effect is to kind of offset the circles a bit, like mid-frame. And this way you'll get a visual representation of how your effect is going to look. So kind of individually, one by one, you just want to offset these circles. And you actually can see pretty much by just moving the circles to their position, how the effect will look in kind of a 3D fashion. So already you can kind of see the effect actually taking shape here. Yeah, so once you have all your circles shaped up, you could actually see the effect in real time. Kind of gives it an illusion of 3D when technically they're just circles. So once we actually have our effect, we just can go back to the last frame just to speed it up. I'm just going to play it just to see how fast the effect moves. And of course, the speed of your effect actually varies on how many rotations you have set. So we just set it a few just to set it up. So we're just gonna move to the last frame, and we could actually just type in a random number like 10 just to set those rotations. Oops, actually made a mistake. This is where we actually don't forget to actually select all your layers. So then now we'll go back and set that to 10. Go back to the first and just do a play, and you should see that looks a little bit better. Okay, we actually can't do the scale effect from here, so what we want to do is actually select all the layers and actually pre-compose this. We're going to move all attributes into a new comp. We can just rename this final effect. And once you actually have it set up, you could actually scale. I just actually select the position as well. There's actually no need for position if you're actually in the center. But sometimes you actually want to do the position if you actually want to move the circle off to the left or right, anything like that. And I saw a little cutoff on the top from the effect, so we're just going to go into the original comp for the layers, and we just want to scale that down a bit. So we're going back into the original comp, and we're just going to select all the layers, and we're just going to scale this down so it actually fits inside the actual composition. Now that looks more like it. Right now we should be able to actually scale this down. So now we're just going to animate the scale of it actually zooming in from the beginning all the way out. So go to the last frame and just scale all the way down. Now this gives it the effect like it's actually moving into the background. And again, this is actually moving a little slower than I want. So to speed this up, we could actually just move the keyframe up a bit. I'm just gonna delete the positions. I actually don't need to have that. And I'm gonna actually just create easy ease frames so it actually moves in a little bit more smoother. And you can see how that just moves all the way into the background. And we could actually pretty much almost cut that frame off. We could just cut the keyframes off there so that the image actually disappears into the distance as it zooms out. Perfect. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, you could always use the particle effect to add the stars. There's a couple of videos on it. If y'all like me to add a video to something like that, I could definitely do it. If you like this video, definitely like and subscribe. That definitely helps the channel, and thanks for watching.